Welcome to Show Studios Fashion Radio, the podcast video series exploring the remarkable relationship between fashion and music. Every week we'll be joined by fashion's biggest names and the talent of tomorrow as they share their 10 life-defining tunes and the stories behind them. I'm your host, DJ Fat Tony, and today's guest might have only hit the London fashion scene in 2021 as a part of Fashion East, but with references to retro futurism and 80s anime, has already become a favourite with today's pop stars like Dua Lipa, Lizzo, and his instantly recognisable alien-esque knits starred in the Doja Cat and Scissors Kiss Me More music video. It's the incredible Chet Lo. Hi, I'm DJ Fat Tony, and welcome to Fashion Radio on Show Studio, and today's guest is the amazing Chet Lo.
Hello.
So it's more of a chat with Chet?
Yes, it's a chat with Chet.
Okay, so listen, tell us about your background and where you come from.
Yeah.
So you studied at St. Martin's, right?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in New York. My family is from Hong Kong. And then I moved here in 2015 for uni. And then I graduated in 2020, which was super interesting.
What a year to graduate.
I know. It was
the worst
hilarious
time to graduate. It's there's a world pandemic.
Literally, yeah.
Going out into the world with you. Fashion didn't know whether it was going to move forward. No one knew anything.
No, it was like a fucking boot to the back. It was like, whatever, okay.
Who else was in your year? Who else was at St. Martin's with you?
So I was with Harris Reed, and we're still besties. That's cute. Bradley Sharp. There's a couple other people. Oh, Miss Sohi as well. It was quite a big year, I think.
It is a great year.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about St. Martin's is it's like you have a really good vintage.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, okay, there's not bad vintage. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, and then it goes, you have another really good vintage.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of St. Martin's. I was reading about you earlier and it said about you were interned at John's.
Yeah.
We love John.
I love John. He's amazing.
Well, John's probably one of the most creative and geniuses there is in fashion, in my eyes.
Honestly, yeah.
I've known John a very long time. I knew John when he was at St. Martin's.
Really?
Yeah, and John Flett, and there was a whole that was another amazing vintage that year.
Yeah.
And we had so much going on culturally in London at that point in time, fashion wise. It was really the beginning again of so much, and John was just one of the masters of it, and still is to this day.
Yeah. No, working with him, it was like you didn't really understand what was going on because he was just he had shrouds of just genius and inspiration from those random things. And you're like, how does this all piece together? And you won't know until literally 2 days before the show.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know that. And they'll find something in a vintage shop or in a charity shop and that will be the whole basis for the whole show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one image. And that's the genius of John Galliano.
Yeah.
What a great place to start off in.
Yeah.
I mean, so this year you had your first standalone show, right?
Yes, I did. That was crazy. I just got goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah, I can see them.
No, it was crazy. It was I haven't been able to curate everything about a show yet, and I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So I was super excited from the lighting to the how everything was seated and even the set. I had these little incense kind of holders around to create an aromasphere as well. It was all
it was all the senses. So, because you know what a lot of people do when they do shows, we talked about this the other day with Nick Knight and on Fashion Radio, and it really is about the minute that someone walks in to a show should be the beginning of that show.
Yeah.
So how they walk in, where they sit. I've done show music in the past, and we've done heartbeat music while people are sitting down, and we've boosted it on and on and on just to get their adrenaline going before the show starts, and then take it straight into the show music. Yeah. So it's just from the minute they walk in, they're engrossed in that show, and I think the senses are really important. Smell. All of those things really would help to sell. It needs to be an experience.
No, for sure.
And a lot of people lack on that in shows.
Yeah, yeah. I was very I think for my show, I was very much I wanted it to be this kind of crazy shock. So when you first walk in, it's calm. There was Buddhist chants playing because my collection was really referencing on my Buddhist background.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the music just died. It was really quiet. The lights turned off, and then it was bam, and then it was techno. bright
Of course
lights.
there'd be techno. What else would there be?
Like heavy techno, like sexy girls.
It's funny that you should mention techno because looking at your track list, right, it could not be further away from techno. Let's talk about your first track, which is from your childhood, which has influenced you the most.
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's Candy Shop by 50 Cent.
But you know what? It's such a genius track.
It's amazing. Honestly, I think it was part of like my gay awakening when I was a child. I didn't realize I was super attracted to 50 Cent until I saw that music video and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was so sexy.
Yeah, it was just sex.
It was just sex, but it was like my first introduction to that world. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I was just like, I was thinking about this list that you guys were like, oh, like send your favorite tracks. And I was like, what is my favorite childhood track? And I was like, this is the only one I could think of, me like playing it on my like MP3 player on like my bed and just like dancing to this song. Yeah. You know?
And does it still have the same effect to you when you listen to it now, whenever you put it on? Is it one of those tracks that you've had a really shit day and you go home and you think, I need to change the way I feel. Because for me, I don't have other options to change the way I feel anymore. So, you know, for me, going out for a drink or going out and doing whatever to change the way I feel doesn't exist. So for me, it's music. It's always about music.
Yeah.
So there's certain tracks from my childhood that I will play, which will take me straight back to that safe place.
Yeah. I think whenever I listen to it, I'm like, I instantly just start like booty shaking, hips moving. It's like one of those.
She's arrived.
It just gets the blood going, you know? It's super fun. So I think that's like, I always just remember me dancing on my bed, like fully just like jumping, like banging out to this song. It's so good.
It's such a great choice of track. It really is, especially to start with. Okay, so let's move on. So we asked you what your favorite track from a movie is, from a film that's important to you. And you tell us what it is.
So it's from In the Mood for Love, and it's Yumeji's theme. And I think this film obviously is so important to me because I like relate so much to my heritage, and like I think it's so beautifully done. And it was like also like they're from Hong Kong, like they speak Cantonese, like that was such a beautiful kind of connection to me. And like even like the way they dress was so like brilliantly done. And I find that so sultry, and then you can see that replicated in the music as well. Like it just starts off like so sultry. It's like smoke in the air kind of.
What I'm loving is that when you're talking about this, you're actually you're almost cuddling yourself. No, but that's, you know, to explain what you're trying to explain, and you're doing that. It's kind of like it's a real comforting, there's something really comfortable and warm about it.
Yeah, well, whenever I think even about like the music, I just picture how I first was listening to it, and it was like in bed, and I was literally just watching it and like listening to this beautiful soundtrack in bed, like cozied up, and was like picturing this like beautiful scenario, you know, just like laying.
Yeah. Because for me, you know, I always say this to people, you know, that there's different types of people. Some people listen to music and some people feel music.
Yeah.
And what you just described and what you were doing, you felt. Yeah. That was a feeling.
Yeah.
That wasn't listening. You know, I could say, oh, you listened to that on the way here. And no emotion, nothing. But when you feel something, it suddenly becomes a real... it's an emotion.
Yeah.
And you were doing that with your hands when you were explaining it. And I love that.
Yeah. I'm a very emotional listener. I will not remember any lyric to any song, but I'll know how the melody goes and I know how to dance to it.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of pop music. We make up our own words.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask someone to sing the chorus from, say, the most sung song in the world, Show Me Love, Robin S., they'll sing it, but then they'll 3 or 4 words wrong. But what people do is, you know, the beauty of music is when we listen to something, say like Robbie Williams, Angels, right? Yeah. And, you know, but we change the words because we make it about us.
Yeah.
Track number 3. What is it you're listening to right now or day by day? What is this one track that your go-to track?
So my go-to track is Good Days by SZA.
Yeah.
She is like, I don't know, she's amazing to me. I think Good Days also, because it was like also, I didn't realize till recently that like a lot of the harmonies were recorded by Jacob Collier, who I love.
Yeah.
I just it makes me so calm and it makes me so happy. Like I literally picture like a bright sunny day. And so it makes me happy. And so anytime I listen to it, I like feel instantly better.
Okay, I have to get like a little confession on this one. I had to say to my boyfriend last night, who's that? And he's like, scissor, you don't know scissor. And I was like, it was one of those like, don't try and shame me, bitch. Don't try and shame me.
Scissor is amazing.
I know. I literally Googled it last night and went through it. Incredible. I had this, I can't know everything. But, it was really funny because my boyfriend Stabby was like, what? And I was like, it was like real scissor shaming. I was like, all right, fine, fair enough. This track, why this track?
So I was taking a shower in my old flat, and it had like a beautiful like sunroof. It was a sunny day, and I was taking this beautiful shower, and the sun was beaming onto me. Yeah. And I looked in the mirror, and I was just like, this song was playing, and I was like, I've never felt so much.
It was one of those moments, right?
Yeah.
And, it's like those God-given moments that we have, and you just think life doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow.
I've had those moments where I've been in the shower, and like, I used to live with my friend George, and he had this glass-roofed bathroom, and at certain times in the day you could have a shower and the sun would just be so strong on you, and you just think, this is life, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's something that was just like really magical about that. and you add music to that will always be a safe place track. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, I remember, we all have these, when you do counseling and we do stuff in life further down the line, which you'll get to at some point, trust me, being in the fashion industry, you're going to need a lot of counseling at one point. They always say, "Oh, what's your safe place? Where is it that you go to when you're stressed or you need to calm yourself down?" And I have several safe spaces. I always have had, and I said it to my boyfriend. I was like, "What's your safe space, babe?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, so I explained. He was like, "Oh, yeah, probably Balenciaga and Sloane Street." And I was like, I feel really safe in there. The smell. I was like, just shut up and get out the room.
A child of capitalism. I love it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Balenciaga, Sloane Street.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? So, okay, I know where to find you when we've had an argument.
That's the demographic we're looking for.
I know exactly where to find you when there's trauma. Moving. Okay, what do you listen to when you're working in the studio?
So, Party Tricks by Ayana. It's so like, I think everyone in the studio always says that my music taste is very like baddie girl, like on like just like a sexy sofa and just like chilling out. That's the vibe.
I'm picking that up, funnily enough. 100%.
I love that vibe. So whenever I'm like working or just like in the studio, I want to listen to calm, sexy music. Yeah. It just makes me feel like really good, and I'm just intense, like going at it.
Do you find it relaxing? Or is there something really safe about it?
I think it's like, it feels safe because the music is like relaxing, but at the same time, like I can find calm and I can actually focus for some reason when I listen to like sexy music.
Well, but that is the power of music. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then, to incorporate that in what you do and to be able to go to that place to make you create what you do as for a living, and so what you want, your life choices, because that's a life choice to be a designer. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna do this for a couple of years and I'm gonna do that. When you went and you studied to do what you do, and you take it on to the next level, which you've done so brilliantly. Because as I was saying before we started this, there's a real new breed out there of young designer, and you're one of them, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
Right. Ooh, what do you listen to when you're creating?
Again, by the same artist that you didn't know yesterday.
Oh my God, shame me. That's it now. Should I be like, that fat tone you didn't even know who SZA was?
So it's Go Gina by SZA. It's like an amazing album, Control. You should definitely listen to it. It's fab. But I've realized when I'm creating, my brain is like so sporadic. Yeah. And I have like a million different ideas all the time. And I'm like, it hurts because it's like, I can't focus. So like, her music for some reason is just so calming, and again, it's very sexy, and it just makes me like, okay, I can think of things like one at a time and like slowly be able to do it.
Do you suffer with ADHD? at all?
I definitely do. Undiagnosed, but like for sure.
Don't ever get diagnosed. There's no point to it.
I know I do.
I literally went through life undiagnosed, and people would name different things for me. You know, like he's an arsehole, he's this, he's that. He can't concentrate, and and when finally I was diagnosed with it, and they were like, "Oh, do you want us to put you on something to treat?" And I was like, no, bitch, I'm 52. Why would I want treating now?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm quite well with it, honestly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like you, my brain will work.
Yeah.
And then I start asking questions or doing something 5 questions ahead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find it is a superpower if we channel it right.
Yeah, exactly.
And music really does help.
No, it does. Because I think like before I used to listen to classical music to relax myself.
Beautiful.
But then I found it to be too relaxing.
Yeah.
And then now I found like there's this perfect like R&B hip hop where like it's the vibe, but I'm still relaxed. So I get like both of best worlds,
Amazing. You need to find that balance, right?
Definitely.
Of something that's going to make you move at the same time.
Yeah.
Just get your creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. I'm going to check that out later. I haven't looked. I really can't sit here and say, oh, I know that. But I will check it out. Yeah. Definitely. This is the magic of this. I, as a DJ, think I know it all. Like anyone in any of that's been around doing the same job for 150 years. Yeah. You think like there's nothing we don't know. Yeah. And just by doing the fashion radio, yesterday I was turned onto a whole new, another artist I'd never heard of. Really? And I was just like, wow. And today's another one of those moments.
You learn something new every day.
I know, right? Okay, what song best represents you?
So I think
the sound of your studio, actually.
The best song that represents the sound of my studio is "Kiss Me More" by Doja Cat and SZA.
Now I can meet you on this one with Doja. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's also a little bit of PR because we did dress both her and SZA for the music video, which was fab. But also I was like, I remember when we were dressing, we didn't hear what the song was like, and then when it came out, I was like, oh cool, like our stuff's in it, and I was listening to it, and I was like, oh thank God, this song is such a banger. I was like, thank God, it's amazing. Yeah. And then ever since then, I just keep listening to it, and every time it makes me want to dance.
How does it feel to see your clothes in a music video?
It's like insane because like it just feels like it's so beyond me that I'm kind of like, okay, cool. Like it almost feels like it's almost immortalized in that. And I'm like, oh, that's such a great kind of like stamp in time for like my life. And I'm like, I'm so happy to have been able to work on something so incredible and like have like just a little taste of what that is like, Yeah. So I was very, very content. I was like so over the moon when I saw that.
Because, the thing about it is right, we've had these moments in time when fashion and music have collided, i.e. like Madonna with Gautier.
Yeah.
And that, and it becomes such a massive thing in the sense of, and, music's changed since then. Unless you've got Gaga or you've got Beyonce, music, and it's become much more dance orientated. So just to dress Doja and those guys is such an amazing thing because that's one of those tracks that's always going to be around. If I was to do this in 10 years, that track would come up. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, even like I think it's been a year since then, and even when it still pops on, I'm still bopping to it.
Yeah,
it's still good.
Do you still get goosebumps from seeing people wear your clothes?
I do. I still do. Yeah, it's always a shock as well. I never really know anymore kind of like who I'm like loaning to or what happens. So I'll just see it and I'll be like, oh my God. And I'll be like, wow.
So you're a bit of a control freak.
Yeah.
The best people are.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, come on. It's true because when you do something and you like you said, you like the lighting, the sound, the smell, everything. That straight away said to me, control freak. But what it also says is someone that believes in themselves enough to want to sell their product, to sell this is who I am. This is my first show. I want you to experience me.
Yeah.
And that's a magical thing. It's a magical thing. And it's about letting go of other areas because, we're not good in every area.
Yeah.
We're masters in one and it's sticking to that and trying, when people suddenly become a jack of all trades, it depletes and it dilutes what they're actually really good at.
Yeah.
And, so that's why when we have great designers like Kim Jones, they have a knitwear designer.
Yeah,
They have a shoe designer. Yeah. They have a hat designer.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of that. That's when it becomes a house.
Yeah.
Are you going to turn your brand into a house? Is that your vision?
That's the dream. I want an empire. That would be very nice.
And why wouldn't you?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's like...
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be more than nice.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, and that track will get you there. Okay, right, let's move on. Let's go. The most important song you've heard on a Catwalk show.
Yes.
Which is, so I take it's going to be from your own show, right?
Yes, so it was from my own show. It's If You Want Me from Chat and So Zelda.
Yeah.
And working with them was like amazing. It was
imagine,
so good. And they just kind of like, so basically the inspiration was really drawn on my Buddhist heritage, like I said before. And so I really wanted them to mix this kind of like really calm, peaceful energy with like crazy techno. Which I know I don't really listen to techno that much, but I know like for an ambiance for a show, like I know what you need to like.
Of course, it needs to be punchy. It needs that drive.
Yeah.
If you sat there and everyone was listening to Tibetan monks for 15 minutes, 10 minutes,
yeah,
and they would have been bored shitless. They would have switched off. No, it's true. You know, music for a show needs to drive the show.
Yeah,
they need to go hand in hand.
Exactly.
And I've been to some of the best shows in the world, and I've sat there and I just thought, who's doing this music? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
literally, because it's so important.
It's so important, and like even myself, I'll be listening to something, and I need to like know if I'm strutting to the grocery store, I need poppy music.
Yeah.
If I'm like walking and I'm trying to strut my stuff, like I need. Like
100%.
banging music, I can't just listen. Like my R&B, hip hop is for when I'm working and for when I'm chilling.
Of course.
You know, but like,
listen, I listen to George Michael at home. As soon as I walk in the house, I'm like, praying for time, and you know it comes on, and you know I can't play that at work. No. You know, don't get me wrong. I manage to play Freedom every week at my brunches, but that's a different story altogether. But you know, it's what we listen to at home. And what we do, we have certain things in different drawers. Yeah. That we open that drawer because we know that what's in there, and it's going to take us to that magical place. And that's the beauty of a really good record collection. I always say that if you have the best record collection, you're never going to be lonely. Yeah. And it's so true because we go to that place to find that track. Yeah. Because we know the magic of that track. Yeah, definitely. And to do what you did with your show, to put those two things together, because they do go together. Yeah. You know, it's like people go, oh, this and that together, just don't go. And it maybe not in your mind. Yeah. And that's why you're probably a plumber. But do you get what I'm saying to you? Yeah. It's like, because if you put things into boxes as such. I just said about putting music into drawers, but it was another analogy. But if you box things like, oh, I only listen to techno, or I only listen to R&B, what a really boring world we'd be in.
But music even just like with your friend groups, I know like I have certain friend groups that I know this is the type of music that I'll play when we're together. Or I have another friend group, like this is the type of music. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know what, like depending on who's over.
Little chameleon.
I am a chameleon. So it is super important for the ambiance of a room 100%. To know exactly who you're with.
But the fact that you go to those lengths, right, is a really, really magical thing. Yeah. Because you know, if people come to my house, they get what they're given. No, but it's true. You know, sometimes if I'm in like a bad mood, everyone has to be in a bad mood.
Yeah, I get that.
But the fact that you know what you want to set that ambience is a really magical thing. Yeah. Of like, okay, this is what they love. I'm going to put that on for them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Let's have this conversation in 10 years' time and let's see if you're still doing that.
Yeah, maybe when just a bit more bitter.
You know what? If you don't like it, you can leave. Get out of my fucking studio. Right, moving on nicely. Okay. Best music video in terms of fashion.
So, best music video, I love Bjork, of course.
We love Bjork.
Bjork is incredible. And Utopia specifically, because it is just like absolutely stunning. Like I looked at that so much for research, like in my university times. Like it was just so brilliant and so wonderfully done. And I'm just like,
you know, there's a real magic to Bjork, and the fact that the world loves to think that she's crazy. It just says it all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's you thinking she's crazy. Why? Because she wears the most amazing outfits that didn't fit into your genre at that time. So therefore you write her off as crazy.
Yeah.
And Bjork's such a genius on so many levels. So I've known her like nearly 30 odd years, you know. And she used to go out with one of my best friends, Dom, and Nelly produced her. One of my other best friends produced the album and everything like that. So Bjork's always been a big part of my life in that area. Then I didn't see her for like 20 years. And then I started, you know, and the last time I saw her, it just started off exactly how it was when it left it.
Sweet.
And that's what real people do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I ain't seen you for 20 years, so I'm going to ignore you.
No.
It's like, you know, but the Utopia video is like, it's just one of those magical moments in time.
Yeah, truly magic. Like, it was just like, you kind of picture in my head, like when I think of sci-fi, when I think of the future, like that's what I picture. And like my work is so inspired by futurism.
100%.
And, you know, this magical quality. And I always reference her. Like, she's just so brilliant. And I met her one time. I didn't fully meet her, but I was at the champagne opening and she was there. And then me and my friends just like took a selfie, like when she was facing away, just to like take a photo with her. But she, like, even the way she was dressed, like she's just immaculate. Like, it's gorgeous.
But you know, there's a real innocence to her as well, and that's what shines through.
Yeah,
because she's actually just like, she's so super sweet, and she's like us. She finds it hard to express certain things with certain people, you know, and she gets overwhelmed quite easily, and I mean, and that's the beauty of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she uses fashion in such a strong way because it becomes a barrier for her, and I love that. No,
it's like brilliant. Like, she's just so like beautiful.
You said it about the inspiration for sci-fi, because your knitwear is actually really sci-fi. It's, you know, but because I was reading that, you know, one of your influences is manga.
Yeah.
And you can really see it in the knitwear. But, you know, for me, when I first saw your designs a couple of years ago, and I was like looking at it, and it reminded me that in the 80s and 90s, there was this designer called Bastet.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a shop in Kings Road, and it was like, it was at the end of New Romanticism. And they made all these dresses with great big, like, Diamante shoulders, blades.
Yeah.
And she used Hansa, that fabric. You know, so it was all very bobbly. And then they took it to the next extreme. It wasn't to the extreme of yours where but it really gave me that feel, because it was very body conscious. It was very fitted.
Yeah.
And you know, and for me, that was a moment in time, and this is a moment in time, what you're doing now.
But I love, like, the idea of juxtaposing, like, retro with futurism.
100%.
And I think, like, I really wanted to, like, kind of touch on things that were so big in the past, and, like, especially, like, these old animes, because, like, the grainy quality is, like, so kind of old and stuck in that time. But what they were talking about is, like, light years ahead of, like, where we are now, and I think that is, like, so brilliant. So that's a lot of my inspiration.
But it's interesting that you're taking the future and using it as the past, because, you know, the fact that you just said about anime being the past is still, for someone like me, that's still the future. Do you get what I'm saying to you? In that mindset.
Yeah.
You know, like with Vivian, say Westward, you know, she takes all her elements from the past. You know, in most collections that I've been based on history, you know, with the armor, with the pirates, like Hobo, anything from parts of history. Her and Malcolm, that's what they were masters at.
Yeah.
You know, and they've taken that, and it's like John Galliano, everyone just using certain bits of the past and certain bits of retro fabric and stuff that can just influence a whole collection.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you have to know your past in order to see your future.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, totally. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. A song from a musician you wish to work with, dead or alive. They don't have to be alive.
Yeah.
No.
So I am obsessed with Hans Zimmer. I think, like, just incredible.
Yeah.
Specifically from the song Mobular Rays.
Yeah.
And it's from, I think, what was it, Blue Planet?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I remember when I first listened to that, I was like, oh my God. I also listened to it in the bath. So it was like very apropos. And it was like gorgeous.
It's something that you close your eyes to and it transports you.
Yeah. exactly.
Which just thinking about it will make my hair stand on end because it transports you to a really safe, I keep saying the word safe in this interview, but it takes you to a safe place.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's one of those things that you just, I mean, I love it.
No, like, I think it's like his work is so like transportative, but also like, I think it's so good that like, I think there's this like classical element obviously with what he does, but like the work in which he does it in is so contemporary and like, you know, like doing soundtracks for the Batman and shit like that. I think that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like, just because everyone thinks classical music is just so like dead.
Well, they just think it's classic.
They think it's classic. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's classical music.
Yeah.
But you know what? You go and see, like, you can sit in a cinema and you can watch a movie and you'll hear just strings and it will go into something else and it will go into something else.
Yeah.
And it has this ability to go through you.
Yeah.
Which is like, have you ever done gong bath?
No. Oh my God, I know what you're talking about. Oh,
you know, with the gongs and the vibrations.
Yeah.
So it's all about vibration and it's all about that moment of feeling it goes through you and it can make you cry.
Yeah.
It can take you to a different level.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the magic of what he does.
Yeah. The dream is to one day have him like conduct an entire orchestra for one of my shows. That would be absolutely incredible.
Well, you don't need to make it a dream. You can make it reality.
Yeah,
you
sorry,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Actually.
No, but it's true. You know, you know, we never say never. So all we have to do is reach out.
Yeah.
And have that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about self-belief. Yeah, but you know, just have that conversation.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen this season, it'll happen. Who knows? Further down the line, there might be like a point when he comes to you and says, "I really want to work with you."
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? It's so amazing. Okay, right. Number 10.
Yes.
We're coming to the end, which is a shame. A track that represents how you feel about life right now.
So it's Persuasion by Doechii.
Yeah.
And it is very sexy. Also, I think it's one of those songs that it makes me so confident, like whenever I listen to it, because literally the lyrics are like, how does it feel to be you?
Yeah.
And then like, how does it feel to be that bitch? And I think it's also so like relevant because it's very Gen Z culture. It's like all over TikTok. And it just makes me feel like so like, I don't know, I'll be walking down the street and I'll just be like, yeah, it feels great to be me. You know
what? It's a modern day I am who I am.
Exactly.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like an updated version because, you know, it's interesting that you brought Gen Z into it because it really is one of those songs that it gives you sass.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you the right to walk down the street and be like, you know what? Fuck you. What are you staring at? Do you get what I mean? Who the fuck are you to give me a dirty look?
Yeah. And I remember like I was in Ibiza and like I was very femme. I had like my incredibly long hair. I was wearing only dresses and like everyone thought I was a woman. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Like I feel amazing and I'm going to let you think that I'm one. I might even flirt with you. Like, you know what I mean? I'll be like, buy me a drink. And,
you
like,
know that, honey. Work it. That's it. Do you know what? It's not for you to decide what I am.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you want to think that, then you go with it.
Yeah. And it just was so empowering as a song. I was like, it was just great.
But that feeling must be empowering and letting people think that you're making their own decision on who you are and thinking that you are a woman or you are what. You know, that's empowering in itself. It's the fact that, you know, you can be in a place at a moment instead of like cowering in a corner.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That's like so empowering.
An immersion from like this cocoon where I was always really scared of wearing like I was scared of wearing like my own stuff to like out in the streets, you know? And now I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like I will wear what I wear. I love it when people suddenly find out who they are and they become who they are and they don't care about, you know, the rest of the world. And it's just such a shame that the rest of the world can't find that within themselves. Yeah. And we live in troubled times, as we know, and we always think that things are getting better where they're really not. Yeah. But you know what? It's people like you and people like me. No, but it's true that do what you just said that can make this world better. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying to you? The more that people are like that and act like that in the sense that they believe in themselves, it will make the world a better place. And I'm really glad you came in today. I'm super glad. Thank you. I really am. For having me. And you know what? For someone who had a predominantly R&B soundtrack, which I kind of like took my nose up at last night, I'm blown away by it. Okay, great. No, seriously, I'm very completely happy. Blown away by it. And you know, and if you want to listen to the tracks that we talked about today, they are available on Spotify and other platforms under
Fashion Radio and Show Studio. So I just want to say thank you, Chet, for coming
you.
in, and long may you reign.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Pleasure.